I think I have this down.
Huh?
I think I have this down. I think I understand.
You got it down? Oh, is it going now?
No, it's preparing the stream.
Okay.
It won't start until 1 minute.
Push down on the handle while you pull.
No, it's the top corner that it sticks.
You don't have to just tie it in a knot.
56 seconds.
You got a water bottle?
56 seconds.
You can put a water bottle in it.
Streaming
so
now.
It makes that sound.
We're recording.
Yeah, just tie a couple knots in it. It'll be good for a game of tug. I'm going to turn my microphone off so nobody hears what I'm saying. And then in 22 seconds, I'll turn it on again. What do you got, bud? That ball of yarn is getting smaller and smaller.
Welcome. It's been a long time. Thanks for tuning in to The Talking Dead. We are now live, and you can join us in the chat room on our YouTube page. If you're watching it on our Zombie Popcorn page and you wanted to jump in on the conversation, you can call us at 757-337-2195, or you just jump in the chat room and leave your comments there. We monitored all that, so we get to see what's going on. Tonight, we have with us, as always, Bob.
I knew you were going to say as always. How's it going?
Why would you say as always?
I don't know. I was just thinking out of something out of Wayne's World or something. Like, I should have been like, party on, Jason.
Party on. No, but that's awesome. So, yeah, it's been a long time.
It has been a while.
So what's new?
What the fuck happened?
I don't know.
You were slacking.
I was slacking.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was waiting on your say-so. You're in charge, man.
So. What is it?
I said you're in charge.
Oh, damn. I'm doomed.
I just bring the color commentary.
Yeah. Whoa. I hear. There must be a volume on my... There he goes. That's why...
One day you'll get this right.
When you preview on multiple devices, you got to mute everything. But anyway, I don't think anybody heard that. Lies. So, what's new with you?
Nothing. Just enjoying the California spring.
California spring.
The California springtime.
Like the... I don't even remember what that... Anyway, moving on.
Is that like Irish Spring? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I was thinking of... Never mind. Oh, you're whistling for us, even. That's awesome.
Don't everybody remember that song?
Yeah, no, I totally
Or was that Old Spice?
Was it Old Spice?
I forget, yeah.
Fuck, I don't know.
Irish Spring had some whistlers.
I thought Irish Spring was when you're in the shower, your soap is showering or something.
I don't know.
All right.
But I know, like, soap commercials are always kind of general. I remember the Irish Spring soap commercial was always where the guy would, like, cut the bar of soap and show you how it was marbly all the way through, which I don't know what that meant.
I don't either.
Maybe it was probably something like Search with Retsin. Like, Joe Rogan had that whole bit about, like, with Retsin. I don't even know what that is, but I'm glad there's more of that.
Retsin.
I have no idea what Retsin is, but that usually is a Search commercial. Now with Retsin.
Very bizarre. Want to make an announcement because we hope he recovers. In the news today, Tim Curry had a major stroke. The news report says that he's recovering fine, that there was no permanent damage, that he can talk. There's no, no vocal damage or anything. So he's recovering nicely, they say.
Yeah, that's a shame. He was a great actor.
He's not dead.
Well, then he
still is. He's still a great actor. He just had
he's still a great actor. I hope he gets back up and around.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Tim Curry movie?
Clue. No. Just kidding. What?
All right, well, that's a weird choice. But
I do like Clue though. I love Clue because
he's the butler in Clue.
Yes, he is. But I like Clue because Lee Ving, the lead singer of Fear, is in that movie, and I just think that's funny. And I think Tim Curry was good in Clue.
That's your favorite Tim Curry?
No,
movie?
I'm not saying it's my favorite. I'm just we're on the topic of Clue now, and I'm just saying anytime it's on, I watch it because I enjoy it. What's yours?
Legend.
Yeah.
Where he plays Darkness as that Ridley Scott movie. That's really good, despite it's an underrated movie, and I like it despite the fact it has Tom Cruise in it. But,
why do you hate Tom Cruise?
Because he's a shithead.
He's plain and simple.
He's one of those guys that those actors like. As time goes by, I just want him to be in movies and shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to know what he thinks about stuff. I just want to see him in movies. And maybe Legend was before he got all into Scientology craziness. But Tom Cruise aside, Tim Curry is phenomenal in Legend with the makeup and the big ass horns as Darkness. How fucking cool was that? Was that Rick Baker effects, do you think? I don't even know.
I'm not sure.
I'd almost wager it is because it's so good.
Wasn't he also Pennywise?
He was Pennywise in it. Yeah, that was really good too. Yeah. Although not as good as Darkness, I think. Although that is a tight second.
Yeah.
You afraid of clowns? That'll scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, well. Miley and I watched a video with Tim Curry. I would play it, but every time we play music videos or trailers to movies, YouTube takes our videos down. So I'm not going to play it, but there's a great music video where he's singing and he's in like a car garage, like they're working on cars and stuff, and he's singing, and he's quite young, and it's like in the days of the Rocky Horror.
Right.
But Miley loves it. She is obsessed with that song, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. Maybe I'll look it up here in a second.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like that young Tim Curry and his agents like, all right, Tim, I got a movie for you. It's called the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, like, here's the bit. And you're a transvestite from Transylvania, Dr. Frank. And, like, I'm sure, like, I don't know. Like, was Tim like, I don't know. All right, maybe I'll do it. Or was he like, fuck yeah, let's do this?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because it did already had the cult following before it was made into a movie. It was theatrical or
it was a stage production.
Yeah, from what I understand.
No, I thought it was
you know who we need to answer this question? Rob Floyd. He would know. But
I thought it was a movie first. I could be wrong. I'm not so hip to the Rocky.
No,
I've been a couple times.
But you know what?
I'm aware of it. But
we can totally find out tomorrow because we're going to BayCon. And no, we're not going to a bacon festival. We're going to BayCon.
BayCon.
As in San Francisco BayCon. It's the largest sci-fi science fiction conference in the Bay Area. And we're going to it tomorrow. And there's I have the plan. I don't know if it's tomorrow, but they're doing something Rocky Horror-esque.
That'll be neat.
Maybe it's tonight they're doing the Rocky Horror stuff. Veronica Belmont is the Toastmaster. She's on a podcast that I listen to, Sword and Laser, with Tom Merritt. Tom Merritt is also going to be there, so it's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah. I thought I read a lot of science fiction, and then I listened to Sword and Laser, and I was like, I got to catch up. I don't know shit.
They know their shit.
Yeah.
They're definitely
That's a
nerds.
lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, they are hardcore nerds on that. So.
Yeah. God, I haven't read much in a while. I have to change that.
But I think it's awesome that it's going to our first con here is going to be BayCon, and it's going to put us in the belly of the sci-fi, so it's going to be fun.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll take pictures and post them on the site or something.
Nope.
I definitely want to see the the Masquerade, because it's the fucking movie center here, man. It's where they make movies, so people should be, some top-notch costumes.
Did you not do a Google image search?
Yeah, I did. They look good. I want to see them in person. I don't want to see pictures from last year. I want to see this.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I'm asking if you just saw it, because there's one that I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but there was a couple who had the Lego Star Wars outfit, and it was awesome. It looked amazing.
At Comic-Con this year, I had a friend who was in the Masquerade at Comic-Con, and he got noticed for his portrayal of Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, but you got if you look at the pictures, it's really funny because he's sort of an older guy, and he has really long hair and a long beard, and he has the Spider-Man mask that's just down to his nose, so his beard and his long hair stick out, and then he's got kind of a pot belly, so he wears the Spider-Man uniform like up over his pot belly, and then the pants sag so you can see his underwear, like the tighty whities underneath. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome, and scary.
And scary too. Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's funny.
Awesome. Yeah, we just like with MarsCon, we've made promotional items for BayCon. We didn't go the route of the tour passes like we did with MarsCon, because we're not the official podcast yet. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Have you looked over the schedule to see what you want to do?
A little bit. I told you, the Masquerade. Definitely want to see some of the DIY stuff. And,
yeah.
I don't know. Check out a few panels. We'll see.
You gonna do any gaming?
I'm gonna stand around and gawk.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add? You want to jump into this show?
Watch this. So I'm glad you brought up Tim Curry and how great he was in the practical effects in the movie Legend. And speaking of practical effects, Jason, there is a Kickstarter campaign for a movie made by this group of guys who are 100% committed to practical effects. And the Kickstarter campaign is called Harbinger Down, and it's a sci-fi monster movie. The company that's doing it is called ADI, which stands for what does that stand for? I don't know. But if you Google the Kickstarter Harbinger Down campaign, you'll see their little. They have a brief trailer, and then the guy's talking about it. And what's interesting about this Kickstarter campaign is they are 100% committed to practical effects.
Yeah, 100%. So much so that's why they're doing the Kickstarter. Before we get into it, I want to play their Kickstarter video real quick.
Yeah, hit it.
After the end of the show, in the show notes, you'll find a link to their Kickstarter. So if you want to support it, just right after the show, I'll have the show notes updated so you can help support it. It's pretty awesome. So here is their Kickstarter video.
Hi, I'm Alec Gillis, and along with Tom Woodruff Jr., I co-founded Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated.
Now, for those of you who don't know who we are, we make monsters for movies. But we don't use computers. We use animatronics and special makeup. We are practical creature effects artists. And we've done pretty well over the years. Increasingly, big studios overlook our techniques. They seem to think that science fiction and horror relies on an overabundance of computer-generated effects. Well, we respectfully disagree. Now, we have nothing against CGI. It's a fantastic tool. It's just that there's something tactile about animatronics and makeup that make it more real. Maybe that's because it is real. Let me show you something. This is a practical animatronic suit character. Because it really exists, it can be photographed at the same time in the same physical space and light as an actor. And acting is reacting, so an actor acts better when there's something to react to. Imagine what a hard time Sigourney Weaver would have had reacting to a green tennis ball instead of our actual alien. And by the way, that was Tom Woodruff Jr. in that alien suit, and also in this gorilla. In 2011, we created the animatronic effects for The Thing. We had a great experience working on that movie and loved everyone on it. But unfortunately, most of our work was either replaced or heavily augmented by CGI. We were heartbroken, as was our crew. To show the fans what we created for the film, we posted a YouTube video. That and other videos we posted generated such an overwhelming support for practical effects that we realized there was a big fan base for the kind of work that we do. Many of these fans have told us that they consider the 1980s to be the golden age of creature films. And Tom and I agree. Those films look so great because they look so real. And you know, we were lucky enough to be there for many of them. We worked on movies like The Terminator, Aliens, Predator, Monster Squad, Pumpkinhead Tremors, and more. And just like you, we want to see a return to that kind of filmmaking. So here's the pitch. I will write and direct a film that utilizes, celebrates practical creature effects. There will not be a single digital creature in this film. And I'll bring to bear all of the talent and ingenuity of ADI's best creature effects artists. And I want you, the fans, to know that you've inspired this effort. So please, through Kickstarter, help support our efforts to make the kind of movie that you want to see.
This is an exciting venture, only in the respect that we've
For the
decided
audio listeners,
it's
this
going
is
to happen,
Henderson.
and you've decided it's going to happen. So much support has been coming in through the internet to these guys, which are real effects, made effects, and you've wanted it, and we want it, and we're going to do a movie. I mean, if I'm in it, if they want me in it, that will blow the socks off them for a budget that we can do now. You can't wait for the rest of your life to do something. You know, get on board. Get on board. We'll give you exactly what you've been asking for.
How much are we seeking? $350,000. Now, of course, we're going to be putting in a lot of our own sweat equity and a lot of love. And if we raise more than $350,000, we'll put that to use in terms of better production value, like maybe we shoot on location in Alaska, or we build some of the trawler interior. That would give us greater control over lighting and effects rigging. And of course, we could up the ante on the creature work as well. We hope you're as excited about this project as we are. So please take this journey with us. We can't do it without you. We need you to pledge. Let your friends know, pledge. Tell your family to pledge and your friends to pledge, and
Awesome. All right, so that's it. I think, you know, as he said, that they are pledging $350,000 so far. They have 13 days to go. They're currently at $150,000, and they have a ton of awesome, I guess, prizes. I guess, for lack of a better, if you support financially.
Yeah, rewards for the pledge level.
Yeah, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, they have a huge lineup of talent that's going to be a part of this project.
Yeah, holy shit! Did Lance Henriksen look old?
Yeah, he did.
he's really. When did he get so old?
When we did.
Yeah. Shut up! I don't want to remind me.
No, it's good. So I am actually going to back this because I think it's worth it.
No, that's a swell idea, and I think it helps to tell people about it too. People should know about these things. I didn't know about it until you showed me. I don't know how it popped up on your radar, but there it is. And do you know what I thought was the most interesting thing about that video? About the Kickstarter video? I had no idea that they did the practical effects for The Thing. And he didn't mean the first Thing movie with John Carpenter. He meant the prequel
The
Thing.
Thing.
And remember when we talked about that movie, our impression then was that it suffers from the over digital effects.
Yeah.
And we talked about like how great it would have been had they been practical.
Yeah.
Who made that decision?
I don't know. I mean, because it did look, even in the trailers and stuff, we were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I thought that movie, it really suffered from its over-reliance on digital effects.
Yeah. I want to remind listeners that if you want to jump in on this conversation, we do have the comment section on our YouTube video, the live broadcast, that you can comment in real time, and we will engage that way. But yeah, I think I don't know if it's just because we grew up on the practical effects more than the CGI is why we embrace it so much. But he makes a good point in his Kickstarter video that acting is reacting, and you can react better to the creature that you're seeing than you are with somebody in a green screen suit or a motion detection suit or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate what they are trying to do, and I think that moving forward, the best movies are going to be the ones that strike a balance between the practical effects and the CGI.
Yeah.
Like I realize that there's some things you're just not going to be able to do practical effects for, like King Kong, right? I thought of that because of the gorilla, and
well, I mean, it has its place. I mean, because that video that we watched today, or I'm saying CGI, that video we watched today, even though it's an animation, wouldn't have been as good if it was practical effects, just because it doesn't fit the movie. The movie I'm talking about is Walking with Dinosaurs, the 3D movie, which is for for children. But I don't think that would have been as effective with practical effects.
No, right, and that's what I mean. Like, there's a place for CGI.
Yeah.
And I think that the Guillermo del Toro, and I've said this before, the del Toro movie Hellboy works in large part because del Toro finds that balance between practical effects and CGI.
Yeah.
It's practical effects when we can and CGI when we can't. And I think it pays off. I mean, it works really well for that movie.
Yeah.
And then then you think of The Thing, that movie absolutely suffered from practical effects. But also think about last summer was the summer the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Well, that was and that's the bridge between the old CGI to the new technology. When technology advances and we get better CGI abilities, it worked very well in that.
Yeah, well, with the motion capture and everything, and I think that the level of motion capture, I really think that part of the charm of what made Rise of the Planet of the Apes so good was that Andy Serkis was a phenomenal actor, and you could tell it carries through in what he brings to the role, even though he's just a man in a motion capture suit.
There was a recent movie, and I can't think of it, that was mainly, it was a mixture of both CGI and in live action, but on top of each other, and I can't think of what it was, but it was phenomenal. You had no idea, but until I can think of it, let's go back years back, but to Avatar. Avatar was...
Yeah, Avatar, right. You can't make a practical effect Na'vi.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could, but it's not going to function as it did in that movie.
Not at all. But having said that though, Avatar, even though like I would have agreed that the Na'vi sort of have to be CGI, the everything else was CGI heavy. I mean,
yeah,
and that's the movie that they're that's the kind of movie that they're talking about getting away from. And I don't know, like I don't think you should throw the baby out with the bathwater. However, I do understand what they're trying to accomplish and respect it, and I wish them good luck.
Yeah, no, I totally support it, and I love it. I love the movies like that. I mean, I love Alien, and all those movies. I mean, the face hugger and the xenomorphs and everything in that movie, fucking scary.
Yeah,
and it still holds up till today. You can watch that and just be like, oh, this movie's awesome.
Well, there's this weird thing that happens in movies where limitations become what are perceived as limitations become strengths.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, like, if you look at the old film noirs of the 40s and 50s, they were like super B budget. These were B-reel movies, right? They didn't have budgets. They sort of got that name, film noir, film black, because everything was in shadow. And the reason everything was in shadow is because they didn't have money to build sets, so they had to like light appropriately. You couldn't see over there because there was nothing over there, so they kept it in shadow. And the film noir is one of the best film genres around. I mean, there's so many great film noirs that are the result of those directors having to think creatively to overcome budgetary constraints. Mm-hmm. And then you on that Kickstarter campaign, they mentioned how in the movie Alien, which is one of my favorite all-time movies, how Alien, using the practical effect Alien, like really limited what they could do, but then that turned into a strength in the finished product where the alien is like, in the darkness, and it really adds to the overall mystery and suspense of the film.
It creates the environment for it. It creates, I mean, even in the silent movies, what was the... Why can't I remember the movie?
Well, speaking of silent films, the one of the I was listening to this film academic talk, and his argument was that the advent of sound knocked movies back 20 years because the sound equipment was so big and heavy that they couldn't move the camera around. Speaking of moving the camera around,
the dog got it.
Yeah. The directors, the DPs, they couldn't move the camera. Like as movies were evolving, the principal photographers were learning to move the camera around within the scene to create effect. And as soon as sound came on, the cameras became so big and heavy they couldn't do that. So every movie after that, until the sound equipment got smaller again, was all of these movies where it was just like two people sitting around a table talking into a microphone because they couldn't move the camera around anymore.
But even the one scene movies, the one scene type movies are awesome. I mean, they were very well. I mean, look at Dial M for Murder. One room. Awesome.
Well,
movie.
that's that's one of those instances where Hitchcock overcomes the limitation and does a good job with it, but that doesn't happen often. So again, it's sort of that theme of liability becomes an asset.
And plus, that was originally shot in 3D, which is awesome.
You just love that.
What's that?
You just love bringing that up.
I do. I love it. So head over. The link will be in on the show notes after this broadcast, and check it out. See what's all involved, and if you support it, definitely support it. And speaking of support, I want to bring up another aspect of Kickstarter, and this is just for the record, nothing against ADI and what they're doing with this Kickstarter.
Well, but they're asking for $350,000, which is pittance. Yeah, as the guy said.
So the question that comes up is, I guess the question is, do large companies, individuals, actors that have, that make a lot of money in film have the right to use crowdfunding sources like Kickstarter and Indiegogo to fund their projects. Or should Kickstarter and Indiegogo and other crowdsourcing platforms just be for the independent, for the starving artist type to raise money? What do you think?
All right, so this whole debate has been sparked by Zach Braff.
Yep.
And I like him. I think he can be a little, I don't know, a little too hoity-toity, but I really liked his movie Garden State. I thought Garden State was fantastic. I mean, I really enjoyed that a lot. So he started a Kickstarter campaign, and he was inspired by the Veronica Mars campaign.
Yeah.
The producer and actors of Veronica Mars put together a Kickstarter campaign, and they were trying to raise $2 million.
I don't know how much they.
I think their goal was $2 million, and they made $2 million. Their Kickstarter campaign made $2 million in a day, and now I think they're up to $5 million
for the Veronica one.
for the Veronica Mars.
Yeah, because the Zach was $3. They got $3 million.
Yeah, I think his was also $2 million, but he got $3 million in a day.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd say I don't know. Like, so is Zach Braff probably a wealthy guy? Yeah. And I think that comes down to that. You ever see that Chris Rock stand-up bit where he's talking about like who's wealthy and who's rich?
Yeah.
Like you're either rich or you're wealthy, and he was like, Shaquille O'Neal is rich. The guy who signs his checks is wealthy.
Yeah.
And so Zach Braff may be rich, but it requires wealth to fund a movie.
But I think the argument is not necessarily that he's rich, and I think it's more of he has the connections that are needed to put together. I mean, because the reason he even says so in his Kickstarter video, the reason Garden State happened is because he had a high dollar investor that liked him in Scrubs and supported him and donated him and gave him the freedom to make Garden State. People like you and me and people who make films and, we work at, lower middle class income and even lower, that don't have those connections, can't pull out, the Nerdist for your Kickstarter video to, drop names to get people to say, oh, I like this guy. Here, I'm going to give him money. You actually have to build your movie and your Kickstarter project with the talent that you have and not rely on your fame to do it. And I guess the argument is that with Zach and big name stars doing Kickstarter, it takes money away from the starving artist type.
Yeah, I don't think is true, and because I think that for every guy that goes to Zach Braff's Kickstarter campaign and chips in money, there's 5 more that had never been to Kickstarter before and find other things there as well that they may or may not donate to. Yeah. And so somebody who's willing to donate to a Zach Braff movie may be likely to donate to some other project that they see on there as well. And it's kind of about exposure. And, as far as people like Rob Thomas and Kristen Bell and Zach Braff using Kickstarter, I know it seems unfair because they have an advantage, but you're free to not contribute to their campaigns. Yeah. You just don't give them your money. It's very simple. And I can understand why they want to do it because it's about creative control. And, we sit on the show and we lament about how movies are made by committees and Hollywood is run by lawyers and accountants. Well, this is a way to get away from that.
Yeah.
I loved Garden State. I thought it was a fantastic movie. And I totally get where he's coming from, where he's like, where he says in his video, like, and it would be like some producer saying, yeah, what if your friend was a sexy pool boy And he's like, no, I don't have a sexy pool boy in my movie, you know. And you listen to Kevin Smith talk, and he sort of laments the same situation as well, about how Hollywood is just so heartless. And did you ever hear Kevin Smith talk about the guys, like when you pitch a movie, they get this room and all these guys get together, and based on certain factors in your script, certain elements in your script, and then the star power involved, there's all these accountants. They sit around and they run it through this magic formula, and they come up with how much the movie's going to make.
Yeah.
And every time they're about right on the money. And what they do is then they tweak the script and they say, like, well, we can make a little bit more if it has this actor in it, or replace this actor with this actor, and we'll do better in this demographic. And he said, like, it seems outrageous, and yet more often than not, they're right.
But yeah, and that's kind of what the argument is with the Kickstarter stuff, or the crowdsourcing platforms, is that they have that down to a science where they can know by putting X, Y, and Z into this video or movie or whatever they're working on will give X amount of profit. His Kickstarter video did that. He had Scrubs,
No, but his point is that like, say he wants to cast Jim Parsons in it.
Well, I know his point, but I'm just saying his marketing in that video to raise money, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong about this. I'm just stating, pointing out he did that. You have the execs in there saying, well, if you had Brad Pitt in this scene, you increase viewership,
sure,
or which would increase profit. Zach did that in his Kickstarter program. He's like, well, if I don't know the guy's name from Scrubs, but his
friend,
his friend from Scrubs made a cameo in his Kickstarter video. The Nerdist made a cameo in his Kickstarter.
That's Jim Parsons, and the Nerdist is not Jim Parsons. It's the Nerdist is
I didn't say it was Jim Parsons. Who said that?
What is that guy's name? He does that podcast, The Nerdist.
No, I know.
His name escapes me now because I've been drinking.
Yeah, you're drunk.
I'm not drunk yet.
Sir, you were drunk. But anyway, those placements, I mean, and it's great for him because he understands. I mean, I like to see that in his video because he understands the placement. He understands that name quality. He understands, that's why Garden State was such a success for him. And but with that said, I mean, it's no different from what they're doing. It's just on a different playing field. It's more on a personal. He has more control over it, and he would have more income from it because he's not paying the lawyers. He's not paying the agencies.
Well, no, but I don't see it that way. I see it as just about creative control. Like, did he rely on Jim Parsons and his friend from Scrubs to show up in his Kickstarter video to help give him an oomph? And Chris Hardwick.
Yeah. Chad, I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, did he rely on them? Did they probably come in and do it as a favor, and he made some extra money off of it towards his Kickstarter campaign? Absolutely. What I'm getting at is that when you get... how many times have we said, like, wow, this movie would have been good, but it really needed a director with some vision and control?
I think
right?
that we say that to every remake movie that
yeah,
we've
I know.
watched.
It's just... So, I mean, this is a moment where the lawyers and the accountants are losing control. And if you think it's unfair and you don't like that unfair advantage that somebody like Zach Braff has or Rob Thomas, don't give them your money.
Yeah,
it's that easy. I mean, and you know what? I agree that it's unfair. They do have an unfair advantage, but life is unfair, and there's nothing wrong if you have an idea and an idea for a movie, you can make a movie too. You hear Kevin Smith talk about that all the time. He made Clerks.
Scrubs.
He made Scrubs. He made Clerks for nothing. I forget how much money he spent. It was probably like $20,000, something like that. And then Robert Rodriguez made El Mariachi for $5.
Yeah, but for the record, I don't like Clerks. Never have. But that's neither here nor there. But what I do like is what people are doing, no matter if you're a celebrity or an independent, what people are doing on Kickstarter and Indiegogo and other social crowdsourcing platforms. So what we're going to do at Zombie Popcorn and on Talking Dead is every time we do a live broadcast of the Talking Dead show, we are going to highlight one.
Yeah, we should feature
every week. We're going to feature a Kickstarter program that we support, that we think has potential, and that we want to let people know about.
Yeah,
and
and that will be our opportunity to root for the little guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I know
they need help, right? Because it is unfair.
Yeah. So
the 5 people that are watching this,
thanks, Mom. No, but seriously, so in the show notes, after the show, I'll put a link to the Kickstarter that we just talked about on there, so you can check it out and support it. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. If you like Zach Braff, chip in a few bucks.
Well,
if you like horror movies, go see Harbinger Down and chip in.
Well,
a couple bucks.
They can't chip in with Zach.
That's right. His is done.
His is already
all his
done.
money.
Yeah, it's all right. So, there's a movie you want to talk about that I have not seen, but you want to talk about it, and feel free to spoil alert it. Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Enough with the chit chat. Let's fucking talk Iron Man 3.
Let's do it.
It was awesome. I really liked it a lot.
What'd you like about it?
It was so good. All right, so spoilers. There was an element to the movie that I had a problem with, and then in like sort of one fell swoop at the end, they fix it and make it all better, and then I felt kind of stupid for even thinking this way, because it happens a lot in these movies where, like I noticed it in Spider-Man, in both Spider-Man iterations with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, like. The movie takes every opportunity to take the mask off of Peter Parker. Like, if you look at the Tobey Maguire films, he never wears the mask. He's always taking his mask off. And Andrew Garfield did the same thing in the Spectacular Spider-Man. They're always taking off Spider-Man's mask. And so in this third Iron Man movie, it was like Tony Stark is hardly ever in the suit, Like, there's all these scenes, and it's just every excuse to get Tony Stark out of the suit. And I was kind of getting a little agitated about it. But then there's this conflict that gets resolved at the end, and, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, sort of saves the day. And they say something about the suit, like, what about the suit? What about the suit? And then Robert Downey Jr. goes, no, I'm Iron Man. So, the message there is that he's Iron Man with or without the suit. Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God, that's great.
That's awesome.
It's all fixed, all better. I feel good now.
So overall, you like, because I know there has been a lot of talk on the interwebs about how they did not like the bad guy in the film.
Yeah, I mean, the bad guy was sort of a little, I don't know, one-dimensional and just sort of cookie-cutter. And it does suffer from a little bit of one-upsmanship in that, the first Iron Man is one suit. The second Iron Man is 2 suits. And then on the third Iron Man, we got to have 42 suits. It gets really a little ridiculous. But that's really not an element until the very end. Robert Downey Jr. is great as Tony Stark. He should do like 5 more Iron Man movies. He's the perfect Tony Stark. I just thought he was awesome.
He totally owned that. Yeah,
he does such a good job with the role. I mean, however much they're paying him, it's totally worth it. And then the movie does this other thing that are typically groan and roll my eyes moments during the film. They bring in a little kid, and I was like, fuck, a little kid.
It's so they can kill him.
No, and actually, usually when a little kid shows up, it's like obnoxious and overly cute and just gets on my nerves. But they don't play it that way. It's very good. Even the little kid. I even like the little kid. I usually hate little kids in movies. So yeah, it was really a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great. And we saw it in 3D. That was really good. Moves really fast. All kind, hits all the right beats, and it was good. And it's not like it's not like high art or anything like that, but it is a good summer popcorn movie. It's a good kickoff to the summer popcorn, and it's a good start to the Marvel Phase 2.
Yeah, which is not coming out until 2015.
No, this is the first step. This is the first element of Phase 2.
Yeah, but the movie itself.
There's not going to be a Phase 2 movie.
There's going to be Avengers.
Well,
2.
Avengers will
Yeah.
be the ultimate Phase 2 movie.
That's what I'm saying. And that's not until 2015.
Right, but when the Avengers premiered and it did so well, that was when they said, okay, now we're going to move on to Phase 2, and which would be the Iron Man 3, the next Thor movie, another Captain America movie. And so they're filming the Captain America movie now. There was a trailer for Thor Dark World on Iron Man. And then I think there'll probably be maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and then maybe the Ant-Man movie, and then
I thought Ant-Man got canned already.
I don't know. Last I heard, Simon Pegg was going to be in it.
I don't know. I know they're working on a Superman and Batman movie combined.
Yeah.
Or they're not working on it. There's talks.
Warner's has been kicking that around for so long.
Well,
I just don't know if it's ever actually going to happen.
Well, it's back on the burner now. The talks have fired back up again. So.
You know what'll really determine that is if the Zack Snyder Man of Steel does well.
Yeah.
If that really, energizes the franchise, then they'll go ahead with they'll probably do like Marvel in reverse, where they'll have the team movie and then like a
Splinter
Justice
off
League
of it.
movie, and then have individual films after that, whereas Marvel built up to it.
Yeah.
Which may or may not work. I don't know.
They got to do something. They're falling behind.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
all they have is DC Universe on PS3 and PC. So
Which I like.
I quit playing it for a while. I got into it now. It's just like, since I don't play with anybody, I'm always solo. It's just gotten to the point where I'm like,
Yeah,
I need people.
You
I
gotta
don't
have
want
that team
I
experience.
know. But to give free promotion to Superman, you heard what happened in the news. A guy bought a house. David Gonzalez bought. He was age 34. He bought an abandoned house for $10,000, and when he was going in for repair, taking out one of the walls, he found a comic book in the wall, and it was Action Comics #1, which is valued at $100,000.
Lucky
What the
motherfucker.
fuck? One, who puts comic books in the wall?
I think people actually did that in the day, because they would in the old they didn't have sheetrock. They had slats that would get plastered over, and then they didn't have fiberglass insulation then, so they would just drop newspapers down in the spaces. Between
I
the
guess that would make sense. Because the mental picture that I got was that it was just not other rubble and stuff. It was just the comic book, because the bid that he got, I don't know if I didn't write the bid that he got. Somebody offered a bid already, which was more than $100,000. Just to give you kind of a time reference, if you're not familiar with Action Comic #1, it was released in June 1938, and it had a picture of Superman
The Joe Siegel and Jerry Schuster masterpiece.
lifting a vehicle over his head. So,
Yeah.
what would you do? I know you are a huge Superman fan. You love Superman. And what would you do if you...
Man, that would be tough, because...
Would you cry?
Oh, yeah, I would. I would. I would get weepy over an Action Comics #1. I went one time to a comic book convention, and I drove... Oh, man, it must have been hour and 30 minutes one way. When I was like 16, I just had my driver's license, didn't really know where I was going or what I was doing, but I made the trip out into the city and went to this convention because they had an Action Comics #1 on display, and I wanted to see it.
Oh, wow. So there's like connection with this comic book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's really, Action Comics #1 is one of those things. That's almost like the holy grail of comics, and there's only so many out there.
Yeah.
And everyone knows who has an Action Comics #1.
Yeah, David Gonzalez is one of them.
David Gonzalez is a new one to the list, yeah. But, it's one of those things, like, how many people have those stories about, their mom threw away all their comics? It like paid somebody to cart them away. It's sad but true. It happened.
It happens. They're like, why you're not keeping all these books?
It was all because that guy wrote that book. It was it was during this era, like comics came under fire, and this guy wrote a book about like how comics were corrupting children. And
Of course, was it Christian funded?
yeah, he was. He was a Christian fundamentalist, I think. And oh fuck, what was the name of his book? And so what happened was there was this big movement against comics, and it was almost like a Red Scare, and comics almost died. And then like a lot of comics publishers got together and they adopted the comics code, and it was a way to tell the public like it was kind of like the rating system that's in movies, or what they call like pre-code Hollywood, or the Hollywood code.
Yeah.
It was like everybody who was making movies or making comics, they had the code, and you agreed like, all right, we're not going to do these things. And so you adhered to the code, and then they left you alone. It was like you sort of said, no, we're not that bad because we're policing ourselves. But Superman was, I think, was a pre-code comic.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and would I sell it? I don't know. I could sure use $100,000.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Is like, do you keep it for the bragging rights and just the sheer just?
You know,
I mean, like for me, I was never really into the superhero comic books. I collected comic books, but they were not Batman, Spider-Man, or anything. I collected, dark horror type comic books. So, I mean, I think now at this age, I would understand the value of that action comic. But if I had it as a kid back in the day that I collected comic books, I don't think I would appreciate it. I think I would have just sold it, just so I could. I don't know.
All right, so even if you made $100,000 from it, like $100,000 is a lot of money, and it would pay a lot of bills.
For a book you found in the wall, yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's also not so much money that it changes your life.
No.
You know what I mean? You'd still have to go to work every day.
Yeah.
So I think if it wasn't enough money to change my life, I don't think I would sell it.
So you're saying like if the comic was worth a couple million,
probably then, because that would change your life.
But that's the only reason. So you wouldn't have to pay bills. You could just live comfortably without having to do anything.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Good.
Be a man of leisure.
You would just you would buy $1 million worth of more comics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, because all you need is
I could have one comic for $1 million, or 1 million comics for $1.
25 cents.
Yeah. No, I think unless it's enough money to change your life, I don't think I could part with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just I don't know. It's just it seems sappy, but that would mean a lot to me,
Well, yeah, because you have an emotional connection. I don't know if emotional connection is the right phrase, but you have an emotional connection with Superman and the Superman stories and the comics and the movies, and even playing DC Universe. There's that element that you love about it.
Yeah.
So
I can tell because you're always like, "Come on, let's be bad guys," and I'm like, "No, we got to be good guys. Come on, man." Well, no, bad is better.
Well, you can look if you're watching this. If you're watching the live stream,
and then you slip me some red kryptonite, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
But I mean, you can tell you're all light and good in this video feed, and I'm all dark.
So good.
I mean, we've always said if we were superheroes, I would be your nemesis. I would be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, speaking of abandoned houses, if you live in Detroit, see that segue?
I noticed that. I was waiting for it. I was waiting.
You're like, yeah. But you did a good setup for the Kickstarter thing. But anyway,
see how that was done?
That was good. I'm not learning anything.
No.
But anyway, inside jokes. So if you live in Detroit and you're a fan of Transformer movies, you have an opportunity to be an extra in Transformer 4 because they're doing pickup shots now, and they're shooting in Detroit for some of them, and the casting director for the movie is looking to hire actors as paid extras from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, May 31st, and Saturday, June 1st. That's at Somerset Inn in Troy. The part requires that actors be available for filming from June through August. So if you want to be an
All
extra...
you got to do is give up every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. from June to August.
Well, and we don't know if it's every Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we don't know the details outside of that, but if you're in that area, fuck, I would do it.
Yeah, 10 to 2 doesn't sound so bad. I would give that
No.
a shot.
No, 10 to 2 is when where you go to sign up.
Oh.
Between those times at the Somerset Inn in Troy. That's where you go sign
See,
up.
I don't think I'd be very good on a movie set because I understand a movie set is a lot of like stand around and wait, and my ADD kicks in and I just become a maniac.
You start wandering.
Yeah, I'd get into shit and I'd be a big pain in the ass.
I'd be like,
they wouldn't like me at all.
I'll be like,
I'd be
where's
asked to leave.
Where's Bob? And I turn around and Bob's like wearing the bumblebee. You know,
No, that would be great.
like, what are you doing? You're making that noise.
Making friends, man.
Awesome. So, speaking of movies that required extras, there's one movie that they should never had extras, actors, or even a budget to create it, and that's, in my opinion, that was the ZombieLand pilot TV series. I didn't watch the pilot. I watched the trailer, and that was enough for me to not even want to care about it. It was
watched
horrible. What do you think?
It was okay. It was. I didn't think it was awful. Some people really hated it. What did the director said? The fans hated it out of existence.
Yeah, he said the creator Rhett Reese. He said he complained on Twitter that ZombieLand fans hated the show out of existence. Yes.
Existence.
Which I understand why they would do it. I mean, okay, so there's the two sides of the argument is people are mad at the purists because they're like, well, it could have been great. It could have been awesome. You know, why do you have to hate it so much? You know, and they're saying just because people who hate it they're called purists because if you haven't seen the trailer or the pilot, they took the same characters from the movie, transplanted them into a TV series, but with different actors. So they had the same name and same background and same story plot in essence, but they were different people playing those characters. And I think that was their biggest downfall on it because the premise of the TV series were that they would meet people, you know, that were survivors, and they would die off in each of the series, you know, and die off in strange and funny, you know, comedic ways. I think the series would have done better since the story plot already knows that there are other survivors. If they just went with other survivors and not brought back Tallahassee, not brought back, and did it as, you know, another leg in the same universe. And I think it would have been much better.
That may have worked better. I sort of see the point to this was that people felt like they were being given knockoff versions of Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg.
Because you could not live up to those characters. No matter how good of an actor you were, you cannot bring that same feeling. That the guy that played Woody's character just did not have it.
Yeah, he was too chubby to be Woody Harrelson.
No.
Although, all right, and you know what? It's interesting that you say that because the best part of the show, I watched it, and that theme of like finding survivors and then they can't keep them alive and they keep dying, that was just the theme for that episode. That wasn't meant to be an overarching theme of the entire series. That was just the gimmick in that one episode. They decide to go look for survivors, and every time they meet somebody, they die very quickly soon after. They just can't seem to keep them alive.
Yeah, well, the point of
it almost became a running joke.
Yeah, well, the point of that was that the universe, the storyline in the universe admits that there's other survivors, and there's enough for them to go look for them. So they could have easily just made the story around the survivors.
So for me, the funniest part of the show was like the first 5 minutes, and in the first 5 minutes are this guy and this woman in this office setting, and they're talking, and there's this big picture window behind them, and he's talking about like his really petty first world problems. He's like, I ordered a fucking macchiato and I said no dairy and they put fucking milk in it. Can you believe that? You know, like, and she's like, oh my God, I just cannot believe the day you're having, you know, and the whole time that they're having this, you know, petty first world problems discussion at the office, you can see all of these zombie things happening unbeknownst to them, behind them in the big picture window, and then it all comes crashing onto them at once. And that was actually the best part of the show. It was really entertaining because it was funny to see those, you know, first world problems still hanging on in the midst of this impending, you know, apocalypse, and they're completely oblivious to it. And and that worked. And so and that did, and that whole, the best part about it and the part that worked didn't rely on the characters from the movie. You could have, like, we always say that a lot too, right? Tell a different story in the same world. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think ZombieLand the TV series would have been amazing. I would have been a loyal fan to it if they did just that, is gave us another part of the world.
You know, you could have even done that as sort of like an anthology, like one episode wouldn't necessarily have to be related to another episode. And then what would be interesting would be if you had, if you had imagine a season of 13-hour-long episodes, right? And each hour, episode 1 is seemingly unrelated to episode 2, is seemingly unrelated to episode 3. But then as you get to episodes 7, 8, and 9, then you start getting this inkling that they actually are related, and you see elements of previous episodes and other. And then like the last 2 episodes of the season might be, you know, sort of a way to bring them all together and unify them under like this one common thread or something. Just spitballing ideas. I should run these shows.
I'll see your idea and raise you. Where they could bring it back together is ZombieLand 2, the movie. Yeah. Because that's what the fans want. They wanted the movie, and, you know, the powers that be that control the rights decided that it would be better as a TV series. Yeah. And I guess they did that because they knew they couldn't get Woody or some, you know, the other actors in. Actually, in fact, Woody said he would come back.
I think Woody would have done it.
No, he publicly announced before the TV series that he would come back to do ZombieLand 2.
Yeah.
So, I
think
know.
Jesse Eisenberg would have wanted a lot more money.
Probably. But, you know, the movie would have brought in a lot of money because ZombieLand, the movie, was great. It had every element that made a good summer, you know, road. It was like one of those summer road trip movies, you know, that is just fun. And it's like what we grew up watching, you know, National Lampoon or something. It's just had those elements to it, and then it had zombies.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There were a couple of. What I do think is interesting about ZombieLand was the model that it brings about, in that it was produced by Amazon. Yeah. They produced it, and then they produced it and like 8 other 1-episode pilots for other shows, and then they streamed them all for free on their Amazon streaming site.
Well, not for free. You had to be a Prime member, which is not.
I'm not a Prime member. I streamed it for free.
No, oh, you're saying for the pilot, not for the. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, all the pilots, they were free, and then they considered viewer feedback. And they encourage you to leave feedback, and then based on the feedback of ZombieLand, they killed it.
Yeah, I mean, and good riddance.
They're not going to order another season, and so now they gave the green light to 2 of the 8 shows. I think it was Alphas, and then the political one with John Goodman, which may be called out. There's 2. I know one of them was Alphas, and one of them, which might be the same one, is the one with John Goodman. Yeah, where he's like it's a political comedy.
Well, they're just competing with, you know, Breaking Bad and Arrested Development, because Netflix now is producing, or at least.
Have you watched House of Cards?
I have not.
Oh, it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Is Netflix behind that one as well?
Yeah, that's the Netflix show.
Okay.
And they've done, Netflix has done House of Cards, and then they have another horror show called Hemlock Grove, which I've seen, and it's not bad. It's a werewolf show.
Yeah.
And it's either produced or directed by Eli Roth, and what I like about Hemlock Grove is that it's very Twin Peaks. It really reminds me of Twin Peaks quite a bit, and I love Twin Peaks. Yeah. So that's not a bad show. So if it's just House of Cards and Hemlock Grove, then Netflix, I'd say, is 2 for 2.
Yeah, Netflix is. I think they were. I don't know how much they are now, since everybody else is jumping on it. But they were one of the driving forces in trying to change the model of how movies or TV series, whether it's cable or regular TV, is created and funded. And I think, and I kind of like the Netflix model better because I think it was with Arrested Development. They were like,
Yeah, they're supposed to bring back Arrested Development.
Yeah, when it was on HBO, they only had, a season was only, a certain amount of episodes. But with Netflix, they said, well, whatever, how many episodes you need, take it. And
right. Well, that's right, because the model of like TV schedules, it's seasonal, right? There's the fall shows and the summer shows and the mid-season replacements.
And it's based on advertisements more.
Right, and so that's where you have that 13 or 22 or 23 episode model. Yeah. The order number is usually something like that, 13 weeks or something like that. And so, yeah, with Netflix, it can be however many you need it to be because you're watching it on demand. It's not. I was kind of surprised when I first got wind of Hemlock Grove. I was like, oh, sweet, so I'll check this out. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this, when's the next show come? And then I happened to look, and I was like, they're all here already.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I was listening to a podcast. I can't remember which one. I think Tom Merritt was on it. And they were talking about the pros and cons of Netflix doing that. They're like, we're saying, one of the co-hosts were saying that they don't like that all of them at once. They would prefer Netflix to space it out. Like every week you get a new episode. And the other co-host was like, no, I totally enjoy being able just to binge on a show.
Yeah, I like that too.
He's never, and I agree with him. He was never into, would never see a show all the way through because next week you have to see a movie. You have to be there at a certain time and to see it. And I agree with that. I like the binge aspect to it, because like The Walking Dead, I watched all of it. Not when it was live, but rebroadcast of it. And then when season 3 came up, I still haven't seen. I had the opportunity to watch season 3 as it was being aired every week, and I didn't watch it because I just didn't feel like I wanted that commitment. I didn't want to sit there and stop whatever I was doing when it was coming on to watch it.
Yeah.
And the only reason we saw the season 4 of Drag Away throughs because people came over and forced me to do it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, because my girlfriend is insane and she'd go nuts if she missed it by a second. I watch a lot of shows on Hulu and usually with Netflix for TV shows, it sort of follows the model or the schedule of like whatever's available on DVD.
Yeah.
And then Netflix will have it available for streaming as far as like non-Netflix shows go. And Hulu has more of like a week-to-week schedule. Whatever was new that week in a day or so, it'll be on Hulu if it's going to be there. But I tend to let things lapse a couple of weeks and then just watch 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Of whatever it happens to be. And I heard this interesting statistic about, and Netflix published this too, and I forget where I heard it, so maybe I just made it up, but I don't think I did. So Netflix keeps track of viewing habits, right? They're data mining like crazy.
Oh my gosh, Miley's always impressed with them. She's like, how did they know I wanted to see that? I watched it and I did.
Yeah. Well, they've gotten in trouble for that too. But anyway, like one of their statistics is that the show, and it's House of Cards, but on average, if somebody watches 1 episode of House of Cards, they will watch 6.
Really?
Yeah. So they're the biggest average show is House of Cards, and in the average episode, the average number of episodes people watch isn't 1, 2, or 3. It's usually 6.
Yeah, the very first.
On average, people watch 6 of those in a row.
The first movie Miley and I binged on together was Prison Break. And that series I think we've pretty much watched all the seasons in 2 nights.
Yeah,
because
that's a decent show, but I don't know. They lost me in late into season 2.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah,
So it was good.
It was good though. It had a good premise though, but
you just get too technical about
it. You know what happened was it's an hour-long show, and I was thinking in terms of like a 13-episode arc or something like that. So I remember watching season 1, and I'm up late with my girlfriend, and we're watching Prison Break, and it's the first season, which I think was the best one, and so we're at like episode 8 or 9, and we're like, oh my god, let's watch another one. And so it's episode 10. And then I'm like, oh my god, they're so close to getting out. Let's watch another one. Episode 11. Now it's like 2:30 in the morning. It's like, all right, we should go to bed, but maybe we should watch another one because they're really close to getting out. And then I was like, well, how many are there? And I was like, 22. What the fuck?
That's what happened to us, but we never looked to see how many left. We just kept going next because it's just right there. And then the sun would be coming up, and we're like, we have to go to work.
I really thought that it would be over in like 13 episodes because I was like, oh my god, they're so close to getting out. They're going to get out next episode.
They did it really well. They did a really good job with the cliffhangers at the end of each episode.
Yeah, and that was a fun show. But then I don't know, maybe I overdid it. I'll have to go back and give season 2 another try.
Just don't watch the made-for-TV movie afterwards.
Right.
Oh, horrible. But yeah, speaking of TV series and how I don't like commitment, there is a series that we're watching, but we're not being too committed on it because we end up watching it on Infinity on demand. Is Bates Motel?
Is that good? I tried to watch it, and it's Huluable, but they're like web only episodes, and I've got my computer mining Bitcoin.
What if you have cable, right? You have Comcast, right?
Yeah.
It's on demand.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's because it comes on every Monday at 8, I think. And Mondays are just not good for us for some reason. We end up just crashing out or something.
You've got the high def receiver. I have the cheapo receiver, and the regular definition picture on my high definition TV looks like shit. I hate watching stuff like that.
Every time Miley's flipping to the channel and she'll stop, I'm like, you need to hit that red button one more time to get us to the HD channel.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not paying for SD.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't have I guess we should maybe think about getting it.
It was free. We just went in there and said, I need HDMI hookup, and they gave it to me. So
show them.
Yeah, but anyway, the Bates Motel is actually really good. We, for those who don't know, it's the young Norman Bates and his mother, and pretty much their story and all the chaos that happens, with them, and it's really entertaining. They renewed it. We have one episode left to watch for this season. And they've already renewed season 2, so it'll be on
picked up for another season.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
that's good. I have to give that a shot. I'll give it a look.
There's some fucked up shit that happened in that show.
Have you seen speaking of movies to TV shows, have you watched any of Hannibal?
We watched the first one. I think it was either the pilot or the first episode. And we keep forgetting to go back and watch,
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. I thought the dream sequences of Graham, how he's having these nightmares about these murdered girls, was really well. But one of my problems with it, though, is that Mads Mikkelsen as Lecter, he's got such a heavy accent. Like, I have trouble understanding what he says. I have to listen really close, or maybe put on subtitles or something.
Yeah.
But that's a good show. Yeah, I like that's those instances of like movies into TV shows that work, I think. Right?
Yeah,
again, living in the same world but telling stories we haven't heard yet.
Yeah, it's really good because Miley really gets into the Bates Motel because it picks up. It has subtle hints to the backstory that was in the original Psycho, and Miley's like, "Oh, that's how that's yeah," and she just like. She's totally absorbed in the environment and really loves it. We actually watched Psycho the other night. But speaking of Psycho, I want to say that Psycho 2 and Psycho 3 is getting a Blu-ray special edition release, and they're going to be bound together. There's going to be a collector's edition for Psycho 2 and Psycho 3. It's going to be released in Blu-ray in the next couple of months. So.
Psycho 2 was not a bad movie. Psycho 3 was just a cash grab.
Yep. Psycho 1, no.
Well, the first Psycho movie was a masterpiece, but Psycho 2 was good for sort of a novelty factor.
Yeah.
And then that scene where Anthony Perkins is like, I don't have any cutlery when they're cutting the knife on this plate. And then the end when he kabongs that guy in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Or his mom in the back of the head. It was a woman, the old woman that turned out to be his real mother. Oh, that was great. That was good.
Say, I wonder if they're going to...
Oh, spoiler alert, sorry.
Oh, no. Who hasn't seen Psycho?
I don't know. It could be somebody out there that hasn't seen him.
Well, I wonder if they're going to take in consideration those other two movies in the series.
I don't know.
Hope not. Look, Bob disappeared. Where's he going? So I guess I'm going to... He just ran into the kitchen. He's getting drunk. So I'm going to take over the show. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Xbox because Bob doesn't care about Xbox. So I'm going to talk about it. Xbox One was revealed last week. And I find it interesting that the details to it. I'm curious to see how it's going to work and how PS4 is going to work it because there have been rumors going around about how the next generation gaming console will eliminate used games. You won't be able to play used games, which is not true, but that's the rumor that's going around. But there is a small amount of truth to it because you can play games. When you put a disc in the new Xbox One, it recognizes it like encodes it puts some coding in on your hard drive, so you can play it. And as long as you're logged into your account, you can play it. But if somebody comes in, like, or you take it over to your friend's house and you're on their account, you won't be able to play it. There's rumors that if you buy used games from like GameStop or something for the next generation Xbox game, you'll actually have to pay an additional fee for it to be able to play it on your system. When asked an Xbox official about it, they said we will have a system where you can take digital content and trade a previously played game at a retail store, but we're not announcing the details of that today, and we will have to announce that in due course. Which I think it really sucks that they're going to try to limit used games and sharing with your friends and
right.
Outside of if they're not signed in to your account, you can't play it. What do you think?
That's a little unfair. Like, what if I have a game and I'm like, oh, this sucks, but you know who would love it? Jason.
I would have to pay an additional fee for it.
I know, that's bullshit.
Yeah. They say you don't.
It's my game. I paid for it. I get to do what I want with it. And if what I want to do with it is give it to you, then I should be able to do that.
Well, what they're saying is what's going around is saying that you don't own the disc. You're licensing the game because everything's going to be cloud based. And
I mean, I would feel worse for the industry if it wasn't like a $1 billion a year industry. If there wasn't just so much money to be made, I would feel bad. But it is such a lucrative industry.
Yeah, they're saying that as we said, you pay more for playing used games. So basically, what they're saying is when you buy a game and install it to your hard drive, it will be locked to your account. So as long as you're signed into your account, you can play the game without restrictions. And anyone in your house can also play that game as long as they're signed in to your account. So that adds a new element to it because, say, for example, Miley and I play PlayStation 3 all the time. We both have our own accounts within the PlayStation 3. So that would mean, we play the same games, It's not like I buy a game that I just play it and Miley never plays it.
Right.
We both play the same games, and this would mean that if Miley wanted it to be on her account and get her own achievements to get the trophies or whatever it may be for the next generation, that she would have to pay an additional amount of money to play that game.
No, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No,
at
I don't
all.
either. And I think it's going to, I mean, I guess the next generation, the kids who grow up with this won't really care because they won't know any different. But fuck, that really does suck.
Yeah. You know, it'll kill businesses like GameFly and
Well, that's what they were doing. Companies have gone on the record saying they want to get rid of.
Yeah, see, that's bullshit too, because like GameFly is a great service where you don't.
That's free advertisement for your game.
I mean, like, right, and so like GameFly lets you try them out, and if you like them, you'll buy them.
Yeah.
But no, that's crap.
They just get too scared and get greedy, and I hate it because the music industry went through this. The movie industry's still going through it, and it wasn't until the industry started embracing the technology that they started doing good. But I mean, it's not like they ever been doing bad. They've always made fucking billions of dollars.
And then they cry poor.
Yeah, fucking bastards. But I think it's a bad. I'm very
and then
interested.
They fucking want my money to fund their movie. Fuck them.
Good way to bring that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see what the PS4 is going to do with it, if they're going to go that, because this could be the thing that PS4 is waiting to hold out on. Because let's say that Xbox, when they do announce it, because their official spokesperson said that they're not making comment on it, but that is the direction they're going, but the details are not released. Let's just say that as what we know now is how Xbox does it. And then when in E3 and when PlayStation 4 releases their console, then there's their official announcement that they don't put that restriction on there, that you can play used games and you can do all
Microsoft will shit its pants.
They'll shit their pants. And
actually, I read this thing though that it was a lot of talk from Microsoft about what they're going to do in their gaming consoles, and at the end of the day, they don't really care because they make so much money off of Windows that their gaming division is just a small fraction of their overall business.
But no, I can't say they don't care, because if they misstep against one of their strongest competitors, they're going to become Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be bad.
Well, Nintendo's hanging on, right? The Wii brought them back, and now the Wii U.
No, there are companies. EA said they will not make games for the Wii U.
Yeah.
They're not going to make an extra game, because the way it works is you make a game for Xbox or PlayStation. Even back when it was just the Wii, it was the same thing, and you just changed coding. You would be add additional levels. The ports were easy. With the Wii U, you have two devices that you have to. Yeah. And there's we're not going to invest that much time into it, so we're not going to make games for it. And a lot of companies have said that, so it's killing the.
I don't know anybody with a Wii U. I wonder how they like it.
I don't think anybody has it because nobody's making games for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
Has that sort of been the Sony strategy all along? Like, watch what Microsoft does with the Xbox and then do the opposite. Well,
they said that they're not going to do what they did with the PS3, because the PS3, if you remember when the 360 came out, this is, you can argue this, whatever, but Sony felt that the PS3 was a far superior product in terms of processing power and rendering of graphics, which I kind of agree with them. Back when it came out. But their downfall, their misstep was the price on it.
Which PS3?
For the PS3. The PS3
but it was as cheap as it could be at the time.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the time when the PS3 came out, it had one of the best on the market Blu-ray players.
Yeah, and
I
think I read somewhere that when it first came out, the PS3 was sold at a loss.
Yeah.
But they did that to get the Blu-ray players out there, so Sony would win the format wars.
Yeah, and they had better graphics. It was just in terms of just on paper, I'm not going to argue Xbox and PlayStation better than the other because I really don't care. But in terms of paper, when it first came out, it was a superior product.
Well, simply for the Blu-ray player alone.
Yeah. But their misstep was the price. Xbox was way cheaper, and that's what put a lot of Xbox in the homes because people didn't want to pay the $4.99 for the PS3.
Yeah, but even at that price point, the PS3 was still a loss for Sony because of the early Blu-ray players that.
But that's not.
Now that's changed. I mean, now you can produce Blu-ray players cheaply.
But that's
at
not.
the
That's
time,
not.
You couldn't.
But what they did is they handed Xbox, pretty much all of that money because the price go. Kids and people who were wanting to buy the next generation gaming company, when they were in the store and saw $4.99 for the PS3 or what was it, $3.99 for the Xbox, they put Xbox in people's homes.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, $100 makes a big difference, but.
Anyway, the purpose of this, what I was getting to was that CEO of Sony said that they're not going to do the misstep with this. Of course, they're going to say this, but they're not going to do the misstep as they did last time with the PS4. So I think, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking or what they're doing, but if Sony does not support the restrictions of playing used games, that restriction for Xbox will be their misstep.
Yeah. I just got my PS3 not that long ago, and I really like it a lot. And the one thing that I like about it, which it could do better, but I do like it, is that it's sort of like an all-in-one console.
Yeah. Well, that's what the new one is trying to be like on the reveal. Did you watch it?
No.
They focus mainly on being the one. It's called the one because it's going to be the one box that controls all your entertainment.
Right.
And it's voice control. You can bring up web browsers. You can bring up TV shows just by speaking to say Xbox, play whatever TV show, whatever it is they use. Price is Right for their example, and it would come up, and then it would go Xbox Explorer, and it would bring up the Explorer browser, and it's just fluid, and it would play your movies, change the channel, play your games and stuff. But honestly, with gamers, for an entertainment center to be your one box for all your TV movie entertainment, I can see that becoming like what the PS3 was for the Blu-ray. This will be for that, but for the gamers, I think if they're restricted on used games, they're going to lose a lot of gamers for it.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. I wish the PlayStation had a better web browser. The web browser on PlayStation sucks.
Who really browses the web on their console?
Well, you could though. See, that's the thing. Like,
my TV, I can.
Yeah, well, I can't on my TV. I mean, I can because my computer's hooked up to it, but then you got to get the mouse and the keyboard and everything like that.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you want to browse on your TV? That's what you have tablets and phones for.
There's lots of reasons to have your browser open on your TV.
Like what?
Web-only Hulu shows.
But there's Hulu apps for the PlayStation and for TVs.
Right, and on the Hulu app, some shows are web-only. So you have to have a web browser to play that show on Hulu. And one of those shows that's web-only is Bates Motel.
Then I would just hit the on-demand with my cable provider. There's no way I would want to watch I'm just not. If I want to see a website or if I want to watch something on a website, I have a tablet, I have a computer.
See, before I got my PlayStation, I used to watch shows on Hulu all the time on my computer through my browser. Yeah. And I just had my computer hooked up to my TV, and it had a full-screen mode. So it's not like I was looking at it through the Windows browser. It was a full-screen picture.
I understand the concept and how it looks. I just don't see... I'm just not into browsing.
And not only that, but so I don't know. There's lots of things that would be more. I like to couch compute, man. I sofa surf.
Well, that's what my tablet's for.
On the big screen.
I don't know. There's never been a website except for Zombie Popcorn that's worth seeing on the big screen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a balance. All right. So we were talking about the DC Universe Online game.
Yeah.
And I like that game a lot, right? I think it's really good. Although, having played MMORPGs like World of Warcraft or City of Heroes or other games like that, those games seem to lend themselves better to like a mouse and keyboard style of play.
Yeah.
I find that the controller play for DC Universe Online is a little cumbersome. I don't really like it that much. I think it's harder.
Well, even first-person shooter like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Like, I'm more accustomed to playing mouse and keyboard for first-person because you get more accuracy gunshots.
Yeah.
And the industry knows that because for the PS3, you can get a mouse and keyboard so you can play your games and do all that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, that's what you do. You have to have both. You have to have that balance, right?
Well, my little brother, he plays Call of Duty, and he uses the mouse, the PS3 mouse for it, but he uses the, not the motion controller, whatever the
nunchuck.
Yeah, whatever it is. He uses that to move his character, but to aim, so he's, uses the controller for one hand and the mouse in the other, and
No, that's
it's pretty accurate. He likes it. Yeah, and that's what I would.
Kicking my ass all the time.
And it's just for games like that, the pinpoint precision that you can do.
Pinpoint
Boing, boing,
accuracy.
boing.
Ping pong.
But anyway, so enough of that nonsense. Let's move forward. Do you like Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Wham bam, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Do you
the
like
muscles from Brussels?
Do you like Jean-Claude Van Damme from 1994?
No, no. I know what we're talking about too. That
So-
movie sucked.
So you didn't like Time Cop?
No, it was awful.
So then I have good news. 'Cause
You will be delighted, sir.
you will be happy to hear that there is a Time Cop reboot about to happen.
Another unnecessary Hollywood reboot.
Well, obviously it's not unnecessary because you severely hated the first one, so maybe this can change.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always say, like, why are they remaking these movies that are good? Like, remake a movie that sucked.
There you go.
Time Cop sucked.
Your wish has been granted.
I remember. Do you remember those days when Van Damme was, the action star of the moment, like post Bloodsport, and every fucking movie he was in, they had to show him doing the splits and punching a guy.
Yep.
Like, why? That was every movie was just a vehicle to see that he was, super limber and could do a split.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that story, but yeah, that's true. He did splits.
That was like his signature move, and then it even turned into a move in the Mortal Kombat, the nut punch guy. What the fuck was his name?
I don't know. I never liked that game.
There was a guy that was his move. He did the splits and then like.
But you know what started that? It wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's Jim Cotta.
Jim Cotta.
Do you remember that movie?
I remember Jim Cotta.
There was a lot of split nut punching in that movie.
Yeah. That movie was bad. It was like
that movie was awesome because I loved it because at the time I was a gymnast. I was in gymnastics.
Oh, really?
And I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, I can't see you doing gymnastics. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, because I am old and fat now. That's why you can't see me.
Right.
I used to be young and limber at one time.
It's like if I told you like I ran the 400-meter relay in school, you'd be like, "Fuck you, you did, you fat ass. You can't run."
He's like, all right, were you using a keyboard and a mouse in that
Right,
playing track and field?
Yeah. I used to be a track runner. No, you didn't.
I used to play Excite Bike. Oh wait, no. Yeah. So anyway, Time Cop's getting a reboot. You know how much I love 3D movies. I always talk about 3D movies. I absolutely love 3D movies. But I'm about to make a prediction in the world of 3D. This prediction will come true. I will put money on the line for it to be truth in the world of 3D. And this prediction is Metallica is making a IMAX 3D movie. It's called Metallica Through the Never. And my prediction is this will be the worst fucking 3D movie ever in the history of the world.
Did you like the other Metallica movie, Some Kind of Monster?
Didn't ever see it.
What a bunch of whiny bitches. Holy shit. That movie just got on my nerves. And everybody said it was so great, but that movie made Metallica in that movie. They were a bunch of whiny little bitches, and I cannot. Why do I want to see those same whiny bitches in 3D? That just does not seem. Like
No, I watched the trailer today because I was just like, what is this? What is this going to be? This is because I went to go. Okay, for those who are not fanatical fans of this show, let me give some background. I had a choice to see one of two movies. Actually, I saw both of them, but at the time I had a choice of one or two movies. And one movie was the new Rambo movie. The other movie was Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana 3D movie. Guess which one we went to go see? It wasn't Rambo.
That's called taking one for the team.
It was a 3D movie. And let me fill in the details. The Hannah Montana movie was 20 minutes, started 20 minutes before Rambo started. So the person that I was with, we compromised. We went and watched the 20 minutes of the Hannah Montana and then went over to see Rambo when it started. And for the record, we had permission from the theater people to do that because they just thought we were weird because we were arguing about Rambo and Hannah Montana. They were just like, what the fuck?
Clearly, Hannah Montana is the better choice.
So, anyway, the purpose of that story is that I went to go see Hannah Montana without hesitation in 3D because I love 3D movies. I do not want to see Metallica through the never. And that is a perfect title for this because it will be never.
Yeah. Yeah, that they really come off as just really awful people in some kind of mind. When the movie came out, a lot of critics liked it because it was like, oh, you get to see how vulnerable and human they are, and these are like rock gods. No, they're not. They're just whiny bitches.
When I was a kid, Master of Puppets, and I saw them at the Justice for All tour, when I was young. I enjoyed their music. I try to listen to them now, and I'm just like, I'm over it. And any band that will sue their fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand you have to protect things, but I don't know.
Yeah, you talk about like embracing new technologies and like thinking about the future. Metallica was not it. They were the ones that cried the loudest when the file sharing was happening. Yeah. And then there's other people who embraced that. They made music and they put it out there for free and then had live shows that they would go and promote. And they're still around. And where's Metallica?
They're still around. Sadly, they're still around.
But now they got to make these weird 3D movies.
Yeah, there was an interview that I read today when I was reading about this crap because there's a headline that totally made me want to scream. Is that the drummer Lars has made the statement, or not? He didn't make the statement, but he wants to follow in the footsteps of Rob Zombie and start directing movies, and happen to be horror movies. And I don't know about that. I don't think I would want to see that. But what was I going to say?
Do you ever watch
in the interview that I read, he was saying that they have to do things constantly to remain relevant, is what he said, and so that's why they're making a 3D movie. That's why I think they just released a pinball machine, the Metallica pinball game.
They're grasping.
Yeah, they're trying to follow in the footsteps of, I guess, of Kiss. Trying to merchandise everything, and they're not that good. No, it's bad.
And that's the point. They have to do all this stuff to remain relevant because they're not.
Yep. It's bad.
Yeah, it's sad. It used to be like one of those groups that you're like, wow, man, they're pushing the boundaries, and they're changing how we see things and think about things. No, they're just being whiny little bitches.
They're just trying to make money and trying to make their fans think that they're still, we cut our hair, but we're still rockers, or whatever. No, they cut their hair because they said we're going to become more businessmen. That's what they are. I know, whatever. Enough of that.
I didn't even really care for them when they were making music. So now I care for them less.
No, they still make music, I think. I don't know. But if you
a
watch
rabid Metallica fan whose head is going to explode.
Yeah, we just lost a lot of viewers. What in the trailer of this movie? Let me give you the dates in case you want to see it. It will be in IMAX September 27th, 2013, of course, and it will expand to October 4th. So it's a limited release in IMAX 3D. And when I watched the trailer to this, go to YouTube after the show and check it out. Watch it. They are doing the song "Master of Puppets." I think it's, if I remember correctly. And you remember the album version of that song? It's kind of hard and he's kind of gritty. Well, it seems like they're doing a classical version of it.
Is it
it's like he's trying to actually sing instead of
like hooked on classics, Beethoven and disco.
It didn't have that that edge to it. It seems like he took singing lessons and he's trying to hit those right notes in the song "Master of Puppets."
Yeah, sucks.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm
My
done.
advice is if you really feel compelled to go, don't.
Don't give them your money because that's all they care about. Anyway, that's what I have to say. But if you want to give something good your money, send it to us. No, I'm just kidding. But if you do have Bitcoins, we do take Bitcoin donations. Just go to our website or look in the below the video. You'll see a Bitcoin address. But if you want to give money to a real good thing, Godzilla is the new movie's being made and it will be in 3D. And I will be there to see the new Godzilla movie.
I haven't seen much about the new Godzilla movie, but my question is, and this is the pertinent thing. This is where everything rides. All the money is this. Is this man in suit Godzilla?
You know what? It depends how well this Kickstarter program goes. Because if they make a good movie and raise a lot of money, it's going to change the way people look at movies. But if not, then no, it's probably going to be CGI.
You need the man in suit Godzilla. That's the whole point.
Remember, what was the...
Stepping on the models and...
Godzilla 1984 was the last recent Godzilla movie that I saw, that I watched. And I know there was a couple new...
There was Godzilla 2000.
There was Godzilla 2000 I did not see, which I heard
that
was
horrible. Man in
suit.
Yeah, it was awful, but it was still man in suit.
I thought it was CGI. Which one was the CGI one?
The CGI one was... It wasn't called Godzilla 2000, although it came out, I guess, maybe roughly then. It had Matthew Broderick in it, and it had a huge, giant CGI monster Godzilla.
Yeah.
And it was...
Which didn't even look like Godzilla. Kind of like an alligator
It was
type.
overly rendered and just... I mean, it was... Okay, by itself, it was kind of cool looking, but it wasn't this image of Godzilla that we've always seen. And then the movie got confusing because I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be a bad guy or a good guy, and am I supposed to feel sorry for him? Or I don't know.
Wasn't that movie the first time that American studio did a Godzilla movie?
I think so. Yeah, because all the other Godzillas were Toho.
Yeah.
Toho Studios.
So this was the first time American
I think
studio.
Warner Brothers did it. It had a whole like cross promotional campaign with Taco Bell.
Oh, that's right. That and Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Well, no, Judge Dredd was before. No, you're thinking of Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, that's right.
That
that's right.
saved Taco Bell.
Yeah, it really did. You know what? I do remember that because, they put Taco Bell back on the map. That's funny.
That was really
But
funny.
wait,
I like Demolition Man.
But what's the difference between
it.
Demolition Man and Judge Dredd outside of the comic? The two movies side by side. It's
Sandra Bullock.
That was the only difference.
Sandra Bullock and Wesley Snipes, I guess.
That's it. So.
Have you watched Judge Dredd recently?
I haven't.
I did.
Did you see the new 3D Judge Dredd?
No, the one with Carl Urban.
I don't know who's in it. I just saw it on demand 3D that we could watch it.
Oh, is it really? I maybe watch that.
But you can't watch in 3D because you don't have a 3D TV.
No, but I just watch it here. In 2D.
No. What the fuck?
I heard that movie was just not so good. And then
what Judge Dredd movie was good?
Right, neither of them. Although I do think it's funny, like when they made the Stallone Judge Dredd movie, there had to be some room full of executives somewhere that were like, you know what this movie needs? Rob Schneider.
Crazy. So let's move it on because our title of this episode is Reboot, Remake, and Reimaging. Going on that theme. Poltergeist.
Another unnecessary remake.
Well, it's a remake. They're saying it's a remake / sequel. They're saying it's going to pick up where the first one left off in the same way that Evil Dead remake did, which I haven't seen the Evil Dead remake yet.
The Evil Dead remake does not pick up where the Evil Dead movie left off. It is a complete reimagining and relaunch of the Evil Dead franchise.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. I kind of liked it. It was, for what it was not bad. But, Evil Dead is kind of a crappy B movie anyway.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're talking about Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. They're the same movie, just one has a bigger budget.
This one says that what they're saying with the Poltergeist sequel / remake, it exists in the same world as the previous Poltergeist films. And so while it's a reboot of the franchise, it's also somewhat of a sequel, taking place years after the Freeling ran out of town. So,
I don't know. Yeah, they said that they were going to do that with the Thing movie, which will circle back around to the Thing. But ultimately, that was just
a remake
of the Thing disguised as a prequel. Even I mean, it's just I don't know. Like don't tell me it's a prequel. Like don't go, no, it's not a remake, it's a prequel. And then you have the exact same scene where all the people are tied up in the room and they're going around heating up the wire, sticking it in the blood samples to determine who's the alien or not.
So what you're saying,
just like they did in the Thing movie.
So what you're saying is that they should do what Ridley Scott did, is say it's a prequel, but have nothing to do.
Yeah. Apparently that works.
So yeah. But I love the original Poltergeist movie. Because
I do too. It was a great movie.
It did things to the night and to trees and just fear itself that like no other movie has done before.
Clowns and fried chicken.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was a really good movie.
Nah, Poltergeist was a great movie. I mean, that really is one of the all-time great horror movies. It was fantastic. And
Phantasm.
Fantastic. Yeah, Phantasm is kind of a...
That's what I thought you were going to say for some reason.
A remake of Poltergeist is unnecessary. And really even a relaunch, unnecessary too, because the sequels for Poltergeist just were not that good, where the third one was just god-awful.
Well, don't we have something similar to it? It's not a remake of Poltergeist, but Insidious. I mean... I'm not saying it's the same storyline, but it's the same concept and the same, we have a modern day Poltergeist movie.
And I loved Insidious.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, why would you want to go back and...
I don't know. And one of the things I liked about Insidious is you could make another Insidious movie.
There's Insidious 2.
Oh, that would be great.
There is.
Because that lends itself to telling more stories that live in that same world, because, they have that idea of what do they call that? The further?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Let Poltergeist alone. Leave Poltergeist alone.
They're here. Which is another, static, which kids don't have anymore today.
Right, I know, right? They don't know what that is.
They don't know. They don't have it. There's no static that they can see on their TV. So,
right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, because remember one of the motifs that you saw a lot in Poltergeist was the national anthem and then the broadcasting sign off and then white noise. And
that movie made everybody our age, when we saw a static TV, a CRT TV, the tube TV, when we saw the static, we'd watch up there and touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't lie and say you didn't.
Because you did. Everybody does it. I think I still would do it if I saw it, but we don't have that. We've lost that technology. We've moved on. So maybe in that sense, if they can do this movie well, if they can do this movie really, really well, where they can invoke that same, I guess branding, I don't know what to call it, that same fear and that same intrigue that carried on through our lives with the rebrand, I'd be down for it. I mean, I don't know what they would do to the TV because it's all digital. There's, but
Yeah, I don't know.
anyway. So, going on our theme, reboot, remake, and reimaging, Gremlins is getting a reboot. And the person penning the script is the guy behind Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. The books, not the movies.
He can't write a film. Did you see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
I did not, because I went to go see Katy Perry in 3D instead.
There's a trend here.
It's a true story. It was my birthday. We had people with us. Jeremy was with us. We went out to eat. We went to the theater because I said I want to go see a 3D movie, and that's what I wanted my birthday present to be. So we stood out in the theater, and we had a choice between Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter in 3D, which I heard was horrible 3D, or Katy Perry's A Part of Me 3D. And we sat there and talked about it, and we all agreed to go see Katy Perry.
Well, I know what Jeremy would have picked.
Katy Perry. and it was my birthday, so I had to do what he wanted.
Well, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was awful.
But it's not the person who penned the script. From what I understand, it's not the person who penned the script to the movie. It's the person who rewrote the fan fiction.
Same guy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was the same guy.
Yeah, the guy that wrote the comic wrote the script for the movie, and it's awful. It was really bad. And I had high hopes for it because Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, the movie, was directed by that Russian guy that I like so much.
Oh, that's right.
Bembikov.
No, it wasn't directed. I thought it was produced by him. I thought it was produced by him and
You think Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
That's another project.
Am I getting it mixed up?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was directed by Timur Bembikov, however you say his name.
Yeah.
And,
damn, and it was bad. I wish I didn't know that. Fuck.
But it was awful. And having said it was awful, the director was doing the best he could with what he had.
Yeah.
And he polished a turd. And it shouldn't have been that way because the guy who wrote the comic wrote the script. And so what that showed is that he wrote comics but can't write movies.
Yeah.
It was really
Which
bad.
makes, whatever.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
But so I guess he's
God,
going to
I'm so
go
negative tonight.
Damn you. You're drunk.
Yeah.
So he's going to be doing Gremlins. I mean, that's the rumor now. I don't think it's anything set in stone at the moment, but that's what's on the table at this moment. Which, okay, if they're going to do a reboot of Gremlins, from my understanding, the original script of Gremlins was a hardcore, gory one.
Yeah, it was supposed to be.
And studio stepped in and said, no, we need to make this more family friendly and we'll make more money. And so the choice was for them to...
And they were right.
Yeah, they totally were. It was a great movie. I think it was...
Yeah.
I mean, we can't say it was the best choice because we haven't seen the other one. So if the reboot goes back to the original script, which I don't think they will because the cuteness factor of Gizmo
and then you have what was that movie? Oh, the
Ghoulies?
yes.
Or wait, Critters right here.
Yeah.
Sitting with.
Yeah, you get Ghoulies or Critters, which were awful.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I would like to see, because in the original script, my understanding, they were bowling with the heads of people.
Yeah.
And I would love to see stuff like that.
And I like that kind of stuff. I think it's entertaining.
Well, it would be. Come on. Who doesn't like bowling?
Yeah.
Come on. So that's it. I think we've done this show.
We missed a recent movie.
What?
Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, talk about it.
Got to see it. It was awesome. So it was good. I'm a Trek nerd and I liked it a lot. It was very good. J.J. Abrams made a really, really good movie. He made a really good Star Trek movie, and it is very reflective upon my favorite Star Trek movie ever, which was Wrath of Khan. And so that might be giving away too much.
Well, that's all right. I saw an interview with him. He said that he did not enjoy Star Trek growing up. He was
Yeah.
not a Trekkie. Did not enjoy
Trekker.
Sorry, he did not enjoy. Couldn't get into him, and so that's what he said. That's why he thinks he was a good choice to direct this movie, because he made it for everybody, not just people who were fans. With that said, he's also directing the new Star Wars.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
It gives me hope.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was there enough
a new
lens
program.
flare?
Oh, there was loads of lens flare in the movie. It was everywhere.
In fact, you got lens flare right now. Look at that.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams directing Bob's feed right now.
Yeah, there was plenty of lens flare. And Chris Pine was great as Kirk, and Zachary Quinto does a really good Spock, and everybody like really owns their roles and, you know, does the work that came before them. They do it justice, and it was really a good movie. Benedict Cumberbatch makes a convincing villain.
Awesome. So awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm planning on seeing it. So.
Yeah, it was good. Good. Check it out.
Anything else?
Not in 3D though. I think that's it. BayCon tomorrow.
Yay, BayCon. It's going to be so much fun. I'm excited about it. So thanks for listening. As always, send us your comments, feedback. Let us know if there's something that you want us to talk about. Send it to us. Email it. Go to zombiepopcorn.com. Go to the contact. There's a contact section there that you can send us an email. If you want to call, you can call us at 757-337-2195. You can hit us up on Facebook, Google+, pretty much all the social networks, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Just find us there. If you don't catch the live episode, you can always listen to us on Stitcher Smart Radio and on iTunes and anywhere else that fine podcasts are played. We were there. As always, thanks for listening. And if you trade in Bitcoins, donate Bitcoins. I want Bitcoins. Have a good night.
Good night.